Hi, scholars. This is Mr. Sheline. Boy, I'm really starting to miss all of you guys. I know it's only been a few days, but I think I've actually gone a little bit crazy so far. I know you can't see me in this video. You will be able to see me again in the next one. I already have a full mountain man beard. It's all the way down to my knees. So I'm just going to grow out this giant beard for as long as possible. Maybe shave it, make some clothing out of it, use it for warmth, whatever I can do in these hard times. But hopefully I'll get all of it gone before you see me again and I look somewhat presentable on video. Right now we're going to go over passage one, not the rest of them, from the practice state test that was in the beginning of your ELA packet. So if you want to go ahead and flip through the science reader and your science activities, it's the very first one. It's Beauty and the Beast. We're going to go over question 1 through 7 of this one today. And then next time we're either going to go over passage 2 and 3. But I'm also thinking about doing some Shakespeare review. That way we stay up to date and we remember what we're working on. So these are some quick tips. You guys have probably already heard a lot. This isn't your first time testing. These are just some things that really stick out to me and that I wish I thought of more, because Mr. Sheehan is not a great tester. Even for education classes and in college, these are still things I had to work on a lot, but you may be better off. Something I already see a lot of you doing now on tests, which I think is a great idea, is to defeat anxiety. I always think you should take a 20-second break. If you have to put your head down for a moment, bring it back up, and then start on a new question, I think that's a great idea. It lets you focus a lot more, gives you a moment to reset your brain, and you're not going to be as stressed. Next, this is something I am very guilty of. Read the question first, not the answers, because I will jump straight to the answers and I have no idea what I'm looking at, and that causes me even more stress. So focus on the question first and don't be tempted by that big wall of text underneath it just because you want to get done as quick as possible. Next is anticipate and eliminate. What can we get rid of? This is the classic, go ahead and cross out anything you're sure is gone. I think this helps a lot with anxiety when you can get it down to a 50-50 chance, rather than just sit there and stare at 4 different quotes. Next is a kind of different one. I am not a big fan of choosing answers that usually have a word like never in it or always. So a question might ask you, when in the article does Jack say he likes to ride his bike? Never in the article does it say Jack wants to ride his bike. Always is it talking about how much Jack wants to ride his bike. Going to extremes like this cuts out even those kind of gray middle lines where it says Jack likes to do a lot of different things for fun. Well, it never says he doesn't ride his bike, so that's kind of in a gray area. I would avoid questions like never or always until you've at least gotten rid of the other alternatives. Lastly, you're going to see this one more for the ending of passage 2 and 3. There's a short answer response, very similar to what's going to be on the actual one. So we'll talk about outlining, but not today. When we get to that outlining, when we get to that short answer, we're going to talk way more about outlining and then how just to brainstorm that in the first place. Not even writing our 3 or 5 paragraphs yet, but just how we can break that down so that we have a game plan. You never just want to dive into writing without knowing what you're going to talk about, because then you just go from one topic to another. You're pulling evidence from random paragraphs when you could have focused it and I'm going to pull from paragraph 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to pull from paragraph 1, 2, and 3 from that first passage to begin, and then with my next evidence, I'm going to pull from this other section instead of just grabbing and pulling from random parts. First off, did you read passage 1? I will wait. I will wait. If you have not read passage 1, it's very important that you go back and read passage 1 right now so you know what we're talking about. The story's Beauty and the Beast, but this is not your Disney classic Beauty and the Beast. This is based on the original fairy tale. Case in point, in the original Beauty and the Beast wasn't, kind of a handsome-ish lion man. They really make him kind of look okay in the modern stuff. In the original one, he has like a warthog head. He has like a really kind of ugly cat face. They make him look like a beast. It's supposed to be looking past aesthetics and beauty, even if they look like a terrible monster, which a lot of early versions of Beauty and the Beast really make him look like a monster, which helps sell the story and the whole theme and purpose of it more. So if you have not read passage 1, go back and do that now. Question number 1. So this is going to be pulling from paragraph 10. Based on the context of paragraph 10, what is the meaning of the phrase, calling him in vain? Calling him in vain. So let's look at paragraph 10 first. Up and down the paths and avenues ran poor Beauty, calling him in vain, for no one answered, and not a trace of him could she find. Until at last, quite tired, she stopped for a minute's rest, and saw that she was standing opposite the shady path she had seen in her dream. Let's look back at where it says calling him in vain and look at some of these context clues. Up and down the path and avenues ran poor Beauty, calling him in vain, for no one answered. For no one answered. I'm going to go ahead and highlight for no one answered. That is a big context clue right there. Let's look at our options. We have A, calling loudly. Maybe she might have been loud. She's worried about her friend. B, calling self-centeredly. Let's break down self-centered. So if someone is self-centered, look at that prefix of self before the hyphen. They're focused on themselves. The center, think of like heliocentric, geocentric, the middle. Someone's self-centered if they worry about themselves. She's calling for her friend. I don't think she's self-centered. It sounds like the opposite of it. Calling soft-spokenly. Well, if she's calling out, you're not going to be whispering for your friend like, Beast, where are you, Beast? I'm so worried that you might be hurt. Calling soft-spokenly is not what a person would do when they're scared. And lastly, calling unsuccessfully. Remember our prefix un meaning not? Let's look back at our context clues. For no one answered. She's not finding Beast. So calling in vain must mean that no one's answering, nothing's happening. She's kind of just getting a blank reaction. I would say calling unsuccessfully. I want you to go ahead and correct it. I want you to go ahead and answer D, calling unsuccessfully. Choose 2 quotations from the passage that show that Beast acts courteously towards Beauty. We're looking for things that show courtesy. Courtesy is any kind of manners or being polite. It's when you care about other people. Beast is the lord of this castle. He wants Beauty to be happy, so she stays. So we're going to look for examples where he's polite and kind, and he's acting like a good host at a party. A, up and down the paths and avenues ran poor Beauty, calling him in vain, for no one answered, and not a trace of him could she find. Beauty's not even in, Beast is not even in that one. I'm just going to say no. Whoops. Let's correct that. I'm going to go ahead and say no on A. You can go ahead and cross that one out immediately. Beast isn't even in that passage, in that paragraph, so he can't be acting courteous in the first place. We have a quote with B. I never knew how much I loved you until just now, when I feared I was too late to save your life. That sounds pretty romantic. He really, really cares for her, but I'm not hearing a lot of manners or polite behavior there. That's very romantic and passionate, sure. I'm not comfortable crossing it off just yet, though. C, I was dying because I thought you had forgotten your promise. That's also very dramatic, very passionate, but still no manners or behavior, so I'm going to leave that. D, but go back now and rest. I shall see you again by and by. Well, he's telling her to go back and take a rest and that they're going to talk to each other later. He's worried about her being stressed out. He's worried about her physical well-being. He wants her to go back and rest and that they'll talk to her later. It's a very kind way. It's like when you say to your friend when you're signing off a computer or you're getting on the bus at the end of the day, like, yeah, I'll talk to you later, something like that. You're saying that, yeah, we'll catch up later. Don't worry about me for right now. So I'm feeling really strong about that one. Not going to circle it yet, but let's underline it. E, and afterwards the Beast came in as usual and talked about the time she had spent with her father, asking if she had enjoyed herself and if they had been very glad to see her. Yeah. Beast is asking about her day. It's like when someone comes home and you ask, like, how was your day? He wants to know about her trip to see her father. He's expressing himself. It would be very kind if you're in a romantic relationship or even just a friendship to talk to someone. How's your day been? How are you doing? Lastly, F, turning to ask the Beast what it could all have meant. Beauty found that he had disappeared, and in his place stood her long-loved prince. Well, there's not even conversation there. There's no behavior. He's just transforming. We can cross out F. I feel really good about D and E, but let's look at B and C one more time. B, I never knew how much I loved you. B and C are these passionate ones where they're talking about their feelings for one another, but they're not talking about their behavior. It's not him showing courtesy. So I would get rid of B and C. That leaves us with just D and E. I want you to go ahead, if you have not yet, you can go ahead and just leave that one there. Circle D and E as your answers. I feel really strong about those. 19. Question 3 from paragraph 19. How does paragraph 19 contribute to the overall passage? Why would they include paragraph 19? Turning to ask the beast what it could all mean, Beauty found that he had disappeared, and in his place stood her long-loved prince. So why would they include this transformation? A, it shows the results of Beauty's true love. Maybe, yeah. If she's spending a lot of time falling in love with this man or this beast, this is the not almost reward for it of like her good behavior. It's what this moral of the story is trying to teach us. It reverses one of Beauty's earlier decisions. I don't see anything in here about it changing something she's done. It builds mystery about where the beast goes. I think the mystery is almost gone. I think we've all realized at this point that beast disappears, and if a prince is standing there, I'm not freaking out going, but what happened to the beast? I want to know. Is he gone? Did something happen to him? No, we can tell that beast turned into a prince. They're standing in the same spot. Maybe you could write a spin-off side story about that, though. Who knows? D, it introduces a character to compare with the beast. And as we just said, from context clues, we can assume this is the same character. So I would just say this ties into our moral of the passage, and that you want to be circling A. Shows the result of Beauty's true love. Let's look at our question first, not our answers. How are the phrases reassured by his gentle voice and came in as usual important in paragraph 15? So we want to look at the phrases reassured by his gentle voice and came in as usual. Why are these important in paragraph 15? Let's read 15. Beauty, who had half expected that he would be angry with her, was reassured by his gentle voice and went back to the palace, where supper was awaiting her. And afterwards the beast came in, as usual, and talked about the time she had spent with her father, asking if she had enjoyed herself and if they had been very glad to see her. So why would they include reassured by his gentle voice and came in as usual? They suggest that the beast attempts to deceive Beauty. If he's trying to reassure her using a gentle voice and he's doing usual, like came in as usual, it doesn't sound like there's different behavior there. I'm not going to assume that he's trying to trick her, so I actually feel pretty good. We can cross out A. They emphasize Beauty's feelings of isolation at the palace, but both of these quotes, came in as usual, establishes a routine, so she's seeing him often, and reassured by his gentle voice. If something reassures you, it calms you. Assure is to calm someone. To reassure someone is to continually calm them down. It's like when you say, like, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. You're reassuring someone. So I feel pretty good about B. Let's underline it, but we're not going to pick it yet. Not B. I'm sorry. We just got done saying we can get rid of B. We know that he's trying to calm her down. C, they introduced the beast point of view for the first time in the passage. This doesn't change our point of view. We're still in third person. I still think we can cross out C. That leaves us with only one thing, but let's read it before we actually do. We don't want to be anything crazy. They develop a sense of routine in the relationship between Beauty and the beast. I think this does establish a routine. Reassured means that she's hearing his voice a lot. Came in as usual. As usual is a definite routine. As usual, we're going to go to school on this day. As usual, I do this when I wake up in the morning. It's a routine. So go ahead and circle D. I really like this image at the top. I was talking earlier about the original versions of Beauty and the Beast. This was a French version of Beauty and the Beast in the late 40s, I believe. It's all in black and white, and there's a really old outfit. If you look at Beast there, he has kind of like more of a Catman, like werewolf thing going on. He's very creepy in that movie too. I remember Mr. Shine watched that for his French class in high school, and we watched it in the original version with no subtitles. I remember that version being very different than the Disney one you may think of now. Why is Beauty's encounter with the beast in the cave significant? So think back to the cave. If you have to, I would flip back in your passage to paragraph 10 through 14. You need to flip back now. Okay. Why is her encounter with the beast in the cave significant? So we know that she comes back. She's worried that beast died without her while she was gone, that he died from most of heartbreak. What is the purpose, though, of this? What is the purpose of this passage right here? So let's look at our options first now that we've pulled up our evidence. A, she remembers to be fearful of the beast. She finds the beast laying down almost dead. I do not think she's scared of him. I think she's worried about him like a friend. B, she realizes the beast will die without her. That seemed like what was about to happen. He seemed, and he tells us he's going to die from a heartbreak because she was gone for so long. C, she realizes how much she loves the beast. I think she realizes how much she loves the beast when she decides to come back in the first case. I don't think that's what the cave is trying to teach us, or why they include the cave. And D, she understands how bad captivity is for the beast. If we've read the story up to this point and we've been following along, I think we all know the beast isn't the captive in Beauty and the Beast. That seems like it's really trying to throw us off. That leaves us with only B. The purpose of the cave is to show that the beast will die without her, that she is very important to him, and that this is a pretty serious relationship. If he dies with her being gone for almost 2 months, imagine someone being gone for 2 months and your heart almost breaks so badly that you die. Reread paragraph 18 below. As she spoke, a blaze of light sprang up before the window of the palace. Fireworks crackled, and across the avenues of orange trees, in letters all made of fireflies, was written, "Long live the prince and his bride." How does this paragraph contribute to the development of the setting? Why would they include this paragraph? It's near the very end of our play, so it has to be important. By showing us it's thrilling and elaborate. This sounds really thrilling. There's entire fireworks right outside their window. So let's keep it for now. By showing it is vast and unpopulated. Nothing here talks about people living around or the size of the area. So I can cross that out now. It doesn't mention the surrounding area or the population. By showing it's a dangerous location. These fireworks don't sound like they're here to scare us or to hurt anyone. It sounds like a celebration at the end of a movie. So we can close that, X that one out. D, by showing it's like a stage, it is a stage like a play. This one threw me off too at first because I felt really strongly about A and D, because if this is a stage play, like think to a play like A Midsummer Night's Dream up on a stage, they would have the fireworks be very, very close to the set. They wouldn't have people peer off into the distance. But at the end of the day, I don't think the purpose of the ending of this play is to say, hey, this is kind of like a stage play, or this is kind of like a stage. I think it's to show us how thrilling and elaborate this is. The beast just transformed back into a human. He's gonna get married to Beauty. They're gonna have like this beautiful life, like romantic, happily ever after story. I think it's to show how thrilling and elaborate and fancy the ending of this play is. It's a fairy tale. And lastly, this should be a slam dunk if we've gotten this far. What is the theme of this passage? So the entire passage 1, Beauty and the Beast. It is comforting to be welcomed. I think everyone would want to be welcomed in life, especially if you're someone who grows up different like the Beast. He's an outsider. Everyone treats him differently. So I'm going to keep that one at least for now. It can be difficult, B, it can be difficult to adjust the change. Beauty definitely spends some time having to adjust the change, living in this beast castle, and eventually she does change, but it's a long and difficult process. So I don't feel comfortable getting rid of that one yet. C, love helps people look past appearances. If you know anything about Beauty and the Beast, you should know that this is a prime contender for our answer. Beauty and the Beast is all about looking past the appearances of a beast and then seeing the beauty within them. That's why you have the characters named as such. Lastly, unhappiness can be caused by people putting off decisions. Nothing in our excerpt talks about people putting off decisions or them worrying about decisions. So I'm going to cross that out now. It may look like we have 3 possible answers, but if we followed along, we know that the true message of Beauty and the Beast is looking past appearances and looking at inner beauty and not the outside. So we should definitely be circling C. All right, scholars, that's going to wrap it up for right now. When we come back together for next time, I'd like you to continue working on passage 2 and 3 in your packets. At least get the multiple choice done. You may pause at the short answer for now. I don't think we're going to dive into the written response just yet. When we come back in my next video this week, we're going to be talking about either responses to passage 2 and 3, or we might do a little Shakespeare review of the first Act 1 and Act 2 of A Midsummer Night's Dream. But in the meantime, stay safe. Your parents all know how to reach me, and I hope to see you all very soon. Bye-bye.